What if I told you the woman you think is ignoring you is actually fighting not to reveal how much she wants you? Welcome to Psych Seeker, and pay close attention, because what I'm sharing today might completely shift how you interpret female behavior. If you've been telling yourself that she's uninterested, distant, or just not feeling it, you could be missing the most important signals she's sending. Hit that subscribe button and drop a like, because this insight will transform your ability to read attraction forever. Here's something most guys never grasp. Women don't broadcast their feelings the way you'd expect. It's not because they're playing hard to get, but because showing genuine interest makes them vulnerable to hurt, judgment, or appearing too eager. So while you're scanning for obvious indicators like constant texting, bold flirting, or direct confessions, she's communicating through signals that are quieter, gentler, and infinitely more authentic. And here's the paradox. A woman who's genuinely attracted to you will often display discomfort. Not the bad kind of uneasy, but the kind that happens when someone's presence affects you emotionally. She loses her typical self-control around you. She's not being cold, she's being overwhelmed. This is the type of interest guys misread constantly. You've witnessed it before. She can't hold your gaze for long, yet watches you when she thinks you won't notice. She acts relaxed with everyone else, then becomes stiff around you. She gives brief responses, not from boredom, but from fear of revealing too much emotion. She breaks eye contact the instant you catch her staring, like she's been exposed. This isn't rejection or indifference. This is raw vulnerability, her internal struggle to stay composed while everything inside pulls her toward you. A woman with real feelings won't always display smooth confidence. Often she'll show precisely the reverse. She'll appear slightly nervous, somewhat uncertain, maybe even contradictory in her actions. Not because she's manipulating you, but because genuine emotion has made her hyper-conscious of every gesture she makes in your presence. And the critical error men commit is believing that the most outgoing, expressive woman is the one with the strongest feelings. The reality? The woman who's fallen hardest is frequently the one working overtime to conceal it, because authentic emotions don't make her polished. They make her vulnerable and real. There's an experience every guy has lived through but seldom comprehends. That precise moment when a woman's entire energy transforms around you. She doesn't treat you like she treats others, and that distinction reveals the truth she's attempting to mask. When a woman develops deep feelings for you, she becomes intensely self-aware. Her voice drops to a softer register without conscious thought. Her body language shifts. Her defenses go up, not to keep you distant, but to prevent herself from exposing the full depth of what she feels. Most guys anticipate warmth, obvious flirting, or enthusiasm, but a woman with genuine attraction often demonstrates something completely different. Subtle indicators of emotional friction. It's not hostility. It's not aloofness. It's her pulse racing faster than her composure can manage. And if you've noticed a woman treating you differently in ways you couldn't articulate, that was her feelings breaking through her control. Observe her behavior carefully, not creepily, but with grounded, masculine awareness. Compare how she interacts with others versus how she interacts with you. Does she become more animated with her friends, yet reserved with you? That silence isn't lack of interest. It's deliberation. It's her mind instructing her to weigh every syllable because she cares about your perception of her. A woman without feelings speaks freely and carelessly. A woman with emotions measures every word. Or perhaps she does the exact opposite. Maybe she becomes overly talkative around you, almost frantically, filling empty air because she wants to impress you, but fears awkward silences. That's not accidental. That's interest seeping past her self-regulation. And when she plays with her hair, straightens her clothing, or delivers those brief stolen glances in your direction, those aren't random movements. Those are micro-admissions. Tiny emotional flashes she attempts to suppress, but her physical body refuses to obey. But here's the element nobody explains to men. A woman with deep feelings will sometimes retreat, not because attraction is fading, but because she's attempting to control its intensity. She creates distance when she senses herself getting too emotionally close. She acts somewhat remote because intimacy feels overwhelming and premature. This pattern is especially common in women who've experienced past hurt. Her withdrawal isn't a barrier, it's a breathing space, a chance to stabilize herself so she doesn't fall too rapidly or recklessly. If you've detected these fluctuations, these delicate tremors in her conduct, you're not imagining things, you're witnessing the reality she refuses to verbalize. Here's the dimension most men completely overlook. A woman who's deeply attracted to you doesn't only communicate through words or deliberate actions, it emerges in tiny details that almost nobody else catches. These are the instances when she forgets she's being observed, the microscopic breaks in her composure where genuine feelings surface. And once you learn to recognize them, you'll never misunderstand her again. Notice her reaction when you laugh at her comment, or even when you simply smile in her direction. Does she stiffen momentarily, then attempt to mask it? That's not social awkwardness. That's her nervous system reacting to your presence. She's experiencing something real, and her body is giving her away. A woman without feelings remains emotionally flat. She won't exhibit these micro-responses that cascade through her facial expression, her stance, or her vocal tone. And it penetrates even deeper. When a woman likes you, she unconsciously mirrors your movements and energy. She leans in when you lean in. She angles her head when you angle yours. She laughs a fraction of a second after you do, not imitating you, but because she's synchronized with you in a way she isn't with others. This is her subconscious signaling connection, proximity, desire. Another critical indicator is attention, but not surface-level attention, genuine attention. The type that reveals itself in how she retains information about you. The minor specifics, something you mentioned days ago, a small joke you made, how you take your coffee, or what music you prefer. She archives these fragments because you hold significance. And when she recalls them later, even in passing, she's transmitting a quiet message. You occupy mental real estate. Here's the twist most guys never recognize. Women who are genuinely attracted often test boundaries, not as manipulation, but to measure your interest and emotional resilience. Perhaps she flirts subtly, teases you, or debates you in conversation. She's monitoring your responses, evaluating whether you can match her energy, whether you're secure enough to handle the space she's creating without overreacting or collapsing. If you interpret these tests as rejection or disinterest, you'll miss everything. The real signal isn't the teasing content, it's the fact she's willing to engage at all. A woman without investment won't bother. She'll remain neutral and protected. And one final element when she's deeply attracted, she's scanning for consistency. Not you performing or trying to impress, but you being authentically yourself. She's verifying that your words align with your energy, that your presence feels real and unforced. That's why patience becomes essential. Rushing her or demanding validation will create distance, but understanding her subtle language draws her closer. There arrives a moment when a woman's feelings become so undeniable that she can't keep pretending otherwise. And instead of moving forward, she often does something that confuses men entirely. She becomes self-protective, not cold, not withdrawn, protective. This is the phase where attraction transforms into emotional risk, and risk requires caution. You'll observe it when she establishes small boundaries. She might delay her responses, not ignoring you, but slowing her own momentum. She might suddenly appear more composed, less impulsive than before. This isn't declining attraction. This is her preventing herself from falling too quickly. A woman with no feelings has nothing to manage or control. A woman with deep feelings has everything at stake. Pay attention to her response when you slightly withdraw. If she notices, if her energy changes, if she reaches out, if she becomes subtly more engaged, that's not chance. Indifference doesn't register absence. Emotional attachment does. When a woman is genuinely into you, your absence speaks louder than your presence. Another sign emerges when she begins seeking emotional security rather than excitement. She listens with more depth. She poses more meaningful questions. She wants to understand your thought process, not just your appearance or accomplishments. This is when surface attraction evolves into deeper connection. She's no longer pursuing stimulation. She's assessing trustworthiness. And here's something most men wrongly interpret as friend zone behavior. When she opens up emotionally, when she discusses her fears, her history, her struggles, men frequently assume this means she views you as safe but not sexually attractive. In truth, emotional vulnerability is one of the most powerful indicators of romantic interest. Women don't reveal their inner world to men they feel nothing for. They share it with men they're drawn to and feel protected by. You might also notice she becomes more sensitive to your reactions. A joke that normally wouldn't affect her suddenly carries weight. Your tone, your pauses, your feedback, she registers all of it. That's because your perspective matters now, and nothing makes a woman more careful than caring about how she's perceived by someone she's emotionally invested in. At this stage, your role is not to pursue or interrogate her feelings. It's to remain steady, calm, reliable. Emotional stability is magnetic here. When you don't rush, when you don't apply pressure, you create space for her to feel safe moving closer on her own timeline. Because when a woman has deep feelings for you, she doesn't need persuasion. She needs to feel secure enough to stop defending herself and start actively choosing you. Now here's the truth that separates men, who unknowingly create distance from men, women gradually attach to. When a woman is deeply into you, she starts observing how you handle power. Not dominance, power. The emotional variety. She's evaluating whether you become impatient, desperate, or performative once you sense her interest. And this is where everything either deepens or falls apart. You'll notice she begins offering you opportunities instead of obvious signals. Moments where she pauses and allows you to lead. Silence she doesn't frantically fill. Choices she defers to you. This is not weakness, this is invitation. She's testing whether you can hold emotional space without demanding constant reassurance. A man who panics in these moments broadcasts insecurity. A man who stays grounded demonstrates maturity, and that's powerfully attractive. Another subtle sign appears in how she disagrees with you. If she challenges your viewpoint but remains engaged, present, curious about your perspective, she's invested. Disinterest disengages and exits. Caring leans forward even during tension. Respectful conflict builds attraction faster than constant agreement ever will. You may also observe that she becomes more selective with her energy. She doesn't scatter herself thin anymore. She prioritizes interactions with you, even if she doesn't always initiate them. This is where many men misjudge the situation and begin over-pursuing. They think they need to lock it down, define the relationship, secure commitment. But attraction at this depth grows best in calm certainty, not urgency. When a woman is deeply into you, she wants to feel chosen, not trapped. She wants to know you want her, but she also needs to know you don't require her to feel complete. This balance is what allows her to relax into her feelings. Pay attention to her response when you're emotionally steady, when you don't rush replies, when you don't over-explain, when you don't react impulsively. If she moves closer emotionally, shares more, softens around you, that's confirmation. Her nervous system is responding to your stability. And here's the final sign most men miss entirely. She starts weaving you into her future, not dramatically, not verbally, but subtly. She uses language like we instead of I. She references future moments casually. She mentally positions you as someone who belongs beyond this present moment. That doesn't occur by accident. That happens when interest has already evolved into attachment. This is where everything crystallizes and where the truth becomes impossible to ignore. When a woman is deeply into you, her behavior stops being about attraction and starts being about alignment. She's no longer questioning if she likes you. She's questioning if it's safe to let you matter significantly. And that question changes the entire dynamic. You'll sense it in how she relaxes around you. The tension dissolves. The guarded barriers fade. She becomes more authentic, more present, more herself. This isn't boredom or familiarity. This is comfort. And comfort is the gateway to genuine emotional bonding. A woman doesn't become comfortable with a man she feels nothing for. She becomes comfortable with a man she's quietly choosing. You'll also notice consistency replacing hesitation. She appears when she commits to appearing. She follows through on her word. She doesn't vanish and reappear erratically anymore. Her actions begin aligning quietly with her interest, not loudly, not dramatically, but dependably. Another powerful sign appears in how she handles your imperfections. Instead of withdrawing when you're flawed, she stays engaged. She doesn't idealize you, but she doesn't retreat either. This is massive. It means she stopped fantasizing and started investing real emotion. She's seeing you accurately and still leaning in. At this point, your role is simple but not easy. Do not sabotage it with fear. Do not test her commitment. Do not demand clarity she hasn't volunteered yet. Emotional safety grows when it isn't interrogated or pressured. Let the connection breathe naturally. Let her move at the pace her nervous system permits. Understand this fundamental truth. Women don't fall in love through pressure or urgency. They fall in love through presence, through consistency, through feeling emotionally held without being controlled or possessed. If she's deeply into you, she's already halfway there. Your job is to not push her backward with insecurity or impatience, and if you recognize these signs, discomfort evolving into protection, protection evolving into trust, trust evolving into comfort, then you were never invisible to her. You were significant. You mattered more than you understood or realized. So the next time you catch yourself thinking she doesn't care, stop. Look more carefully and deeply, because the quietest signals often carry the most powerful feelings. Stay grounded, stay present, and remember this: real interest doesn't announce itself loudly, it remains. Before you go, make sure you hit that like button and let me know in the comments what signs you've noticed. This is Psych Seeker, and I'll see you in the next video.